In the late 19th or early 20th century, a young boy arrived in Hungary, originating from distant lands, perhaps the Congo or Senegal. His name was Simon Paris, though he also became known as Ali Mahmud. Initially, he served a Turkish gentleman residing in Budapest. Following his master's passing, Ali Mahmud found work in Nagyvárad, a city now known as Oradea. There, he worked as a porter at a cinema. During this period, he became fluent in Hungarian, reportedly mastering its nuances, including a knack for colorful expressions and insults. He developed a reputation in the city for his good humor. Despite his foreign origins, Ali Mahmud felt a strong connection to Hungary. He was known for his patriotism and pride in his adopted homeland. As events unfolded leading into the Great War, Ali Mahmud felt compelled to serve. He attempted to enlist in the Austro-Hungarian army. His initial application was rejected. The reason given was his status as a foreign national. Undeterred, Ali Mahmud persisted. He made repeated attempts to join the military ranks, even taking his case to the Secretary of Defense. Contemporary news accounts recorded his impassioned plea. He reportedly declared, "I am very ashamed that as a Hungarian I have to sit at home when others can fight. I want to fight for my homeland." Eventually, his determination succeeded. Ali Mahmud was accepted into the army. In the year 1915, he was deployed to the Russian front. His service was marked by bravery. He earned several military decorations and achieved the rank of corporal. It was during his time in service that his story gained wider attention. Newspapers began reporting on his presence. Accounts described a man with dark skin walking the streets of Budapest clad in a Hungarian military uniform. He was often referred to using the term Saracen. While derived from Saracen, a word historically applied to Arab and Turkish soldiers often encountered during the Crusades in early 20th century Hungary, Saracen was commonly used to denote black people. The older term Saracen sometimes carried a degree of respect, acknowledging skilled adversaries. An anecdote circulated regarding his motivation for joining. When questioned by an officer about his reasons, Ali Mahmud supposedly quipped, "Because I want to marry a Hungarian girl." Subsequently, historical records concerning Ali Mahmud fall silent. It remains unknown whether he survived the war or if he eventually married and settled down in Hungary. His service occurred during a unique period for the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Unlike many European powers built on nationalism, the empire was characterized by a form of universalism. It encompassed and officially recognized over a dozen distinct ethnicities. These groups spoke various languages, maintained different traditions, and possessed separate histories. The primary unifying element across the vast empire was shared allegiance to the emperor. Ethnic origin was, in principle, secondary to being a subject of the crown. However, this multi-ethnic composition presented significant challenges during the Great War, a conflict Austria-Hungary had played a key role in initiating. Troop morale was often fragile. Many soldiers felt little personal investment in a war sparked by the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, an archduke who hadn't been universally popular, even with the emperor himself. Furthermore, Slavic soldiers within the army frequently harbored reluctance about fighting fellow Slavs on the opposing side. Against this backdrop of internal division and wavering commitment, the story of Ali Mahmud likely held particular significance for authorities. One might speculate his public profile served as a potent propaganda narrative. His example could demonstrate that loyalty and identification with the Hungarian cause, and by extension the empire, transcended ethnic origins. It suggested that even someone from the most distant background could embrace the identity and fight for the homeland, projecting an image of unity, the empire desperately needed. His presence within the ranks was, by all accounts, singular. Throughout the history of the Hungarian army up to that point, there is no record of another soldier of African origin. His insistence on identifying as Hungarian, despite his birthplace far beyond Europe's borders, offered a compelling counter-narrative to the rising tides of ethnic nationalism. He embodied a loyalty tied to place and belonging, rather than ancestry alone. During this period of intense conflict, such patriotism was highly valued. His willingness to fight, documented and celebrated, likely resonated with a public grappling with the war's demands and sacrifices. News reports highlighting his service invariably emphasized his foreign origins alongside his military uniform and commitment. This juxtaposition underlined the narrative of imperial unity. The Austro-Hungarian High Command faced constant challenges in motivating its diverse soldiery. Ali Mahmud's story, therefore, represented an ideal example of devotion transcending ethnic lines, useful for bolstering morale. He became a symbol, however fleeting, of the empire's universalist ideal, suggesting anyone could find a place and purpose defending the realm under the emperor. Beyond the official recognition and newspaper accounts, details about his personal interactions within the army or civilian life remain scarce. How his fellow soldiers perceived him day to day is largely lost to time. His stated desire to marry a Hungarian girl adds a poignant, personal dimension to his public story, hinting at aspirations for a life integrated into the society he chose to defend. Yet after the flurry of attention surrounding his wartime service and promotion, the historical trail fades. Subsequent events in his life went unrecorded, or those records have not yet surfaced. His ultimate fate, whether he survived the brutal fighting on the Eastern Front, whether he returned to Hungary, or realized his personal hopes, remains an unanswered question, a small but resonant gap in the vast chronicle of the Great War. As the Great War dragged on, the very foundations of the Austro-Hungarian Empire began to crumble. The strains of conflict exacerbated the internal ethnic tensions the universalist ideal had attempted to paper over. Morale across the diverse army units continued to fray, and loyalty to the emperor proved insufficient against the pull of national self-determination and simple war weariness. Subsequently, defeat in 1918 led to the empire's complete dissolution. The many peoples once united under the Habsburg crown went their separate ways, forming new nation-states or joining existing ones. The universalist experiment, strained by war and nationalism, ultimately failed. Within that grand sweep of imperial collapse, the story of Corporal Ali Mahmud represents a specific, poignant moment. His journey from Africa to the Hungarian heartland, his integration into local life, and his service on the Eastern Front stand out. His documented patriotism offered a brief glimpse of an alternative identity, one tied to the Hungarian state rather than solely to ethnicity, during a time when such loyalties were fiercely contested. Yet the silence surrounding his later years underscores the fragmentary nature of historical records, especially for individuals outside the usual corridors of power or established communities. His contribution, celebrated for a time, eventually slipped from public consciousness. His tale remains a unique footnote, a singular instance of a man of African origin recorded serving in the Hungarian forces during the tumultuous final years of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. What became of him after his moment in the wartime press remains unknown. His documented service provides a rare window into the complexities of identity within the late Austro-Hungarian state. He was an outlier, a man whose background defied easy categorization within the empire's already diverse ethnic tapestry. Throughout the era, individuals of African descent were exceptionally uncommon. In Central Europe, particularly outside major cosmopolitan centers. His integration into provincial life in Nagyvarad and later into the military structure was therefore highly unusual for the time. As events unfolded after 1918, Hungary itself underwent profound political and territorial transformations. The old imperial framework vanished, replaced by new national borders and identities. The chaos and upheaval following the war, including widespread displacement and the redrawing of maps, often obscured the fates of ordinary individuals. It is plausible that his trail vanished amidst this broader societal disruption. Thus, the story of Ali Mahmud persists as a documented, albeit incomplete, account. It highlights an extraordinary individual navigating the turbulent currents of war, empire, and identity in early 20th century Hungary, leaving his ultimate destiny shrouded in the mists of subsequent history.